kings who killed their own families. Royal families don't break apart the way normal families do. When a king has a problem with his son, the son dies. When a queen schemes against her stepson, the stepson gets strangled in a tent. These are the rulers who decided the easiest way to deal with their own blood was to spill it. 1. Ivan the Terrible. It's November 1581, and Ivan IV is in his private chambers at the Alexandrov Kremlin, 60 miles north of Moscow, gripping a heavy iron-tipped staff. He's 51 years old, and the last decade has hollowed him out. He's massacred the city of Novgorod, he's executed his own oprichniki. He sees plots everywhere. And now he's looking at his daughter-in-law, Yelena, who is pregnant, and she is dressed wrong. That's it. That's the spark. In Ivan's court, a pregnant woman is supposed to wear 3 layers. Yelena is wearing 1. Maybe it's hot, maybe she's tired. Ivan beats her with the staff anyway. She miscarries that night. His son, Tsarevich Ivan, 27 years old and the heir to all of Russia, hears about it and walks into his father's room, ready to fight. He's the only person in the empire who can yell at Ivan the Terrible and survive. Usually. The argument escalates fast. The son accuses the father of murdering his unborn grandchild. The father accuses the son of treason. The staff is still in Ivan's hand. He swings. The point connects with his son's temple. Tsarevich Ivan goes down. Blood spreads across the floor. Ivan drops the staff and starts screaming, cradling his son's head, kissing his face. He sends for every physician in Moscow. He prays for 4 straight days at the boy's bedside. He doesn't sleep, he doesn't eat, he just kneels there, whispering. On the 5th day, Tsarevich Ivan dies. The empire's strongest, smartest, most capable heir is gone, killed by his own father over an argument about clothing. What's left is Fyodor, Ivan's middle son, a man so passive and gentle that historians later call him Fyodor the Bell Ringer because he prefers churches to politics. After Fyodor comes Dmitri, a toddler who will be found with his throat cut in a courtyard before he turns 10. Ivan the Terrible dies 3 years later, in 1584, playing chess. The dynasty he built lasts exactly 14 more years before it collapses into the time of troubles, a period of famine, civil war, foreign invasion, and false tsars that nearly destroys Russia. He swings a staff at his son's head. The cost is the country. Some rulers kill in a single moment of rage. Some kill on a schedule. 2. Herod the Great. It's 29 BC, and Mariamne is on her knees in Jerusalem, in front of a tribunal handpicked by her own husband. The husband is Herod the Great, king of Judea, client to Rome, and the most paranoid man in the eastern Mediterranean. The charge is adultery. The evidence is whatever a court official with a sword wants the evidence to be. She is the love of his life. Herod met Mariamne when she was a teenager. She's a Hasmonean princess, royal blood from the old Jewish dynasty Herod is replacing. He marries her partly for love, and partly because her bloodline makes him look legitimate to the Jews who hate him for being half Idumean. He covers her in gold. He builds her palaces. And he kills her family one by one because every member of it threatens his throne. He drowns her 17-year-old brother Aristobulus III in a swimming pool in Jericho, dressed up as a horseplay accident. He executes her grandfather. By the time she figures out the pattern, Mariamne is sleeping next to the man who's killing her relatives, and she stops hiding her hatred. Herod's sister Salome, who hates Mariamne, tells Herod his wife has been cheating on him. There's no evidence, there doesn't need to be. He puts her on trial. He condemns her. When the guards lead her out to be executed, she walks to the block in silence, refusing to give him the satisfaction of a single tear. After she's dead, Herod completely loses it. He wanders the palace at night, calling her name. He orders servants to bring food and drink to her empty rooms. He gets sick. He nearly dies. And then he comes back. And he gets worse. Their 2 sons, Alexander and Aristobulus, grow up watching their father pace. They're handsome, well-educated, popular with the people, and full of grudges about their mother. Salome whispers in Herod's ear for 2 decades that they're plotting against him. By 7 BC, Herod believes her. He has both sons strangled in the city of Sebastit. That leaves Antipater, his oldest son from another marriage, who has spent his entire life setting up his brothers to die so he can inherit. Antipater succeeds at the killing part. He fails at the patience part. In 4 BC, with Herod dying of kidney disease, Antipater is caught trying to poison him. Herod, on his deathbed, signs the execution order. His son is killed 5 days before he is. Augustus reportedly says about him, "It is better to be Herod's pig than his son." The joke works because Herod, as a nominal Jew, won't kill a pig. His sons get no such protection. Herod rules by terror, and his terror eats his own bloodline first. The next king on this list isn't killing out of paranoia. He's killing because the math of his empire demands it. 3. Suleiman the Magnificent. It's October 15, 53, and Seyzad Mustafa is riding into his father's military camp in the Anatolian town of Eregli. He is 38 years old. He is the most popular prince in the Ottoman Empire. The Janissaries, the elite imperial soldiers, openly say they would die for him. People in the markets sing about him. He is the eldest son of Suleiman the Magnificent, and he is going to be the next sultan. He thinks. His father has been on the throne for 33 years. The empire stretches from Hungary to Yemen. Suleiman has captured Belgrade, crushed the Hungarians at Mohacs, besieged Vienna, taken Baghdad. He is, by most measures, the most powerful man on earth. He is also being whispered to by his wife, Hurrem Sultan, born a Ukrainian slave girl who history will remember as Roxolana, has spent decades climbing from the harem to the palace to the throne room. She is the only woman Suleiman has ever loved. She is not Mustafa's mother. She has sons of her own, and she wants the empire for them. Mustafa is the obstacle. She doesn't push the knife. She talks. She tells Suleiman the army loves Mustafa more than him. She tells him Mustafa is corresponding with the Shah of Persia. She tells him there's going to be a coup if Suleiman doesn't act first. The Grand Vizier, Rustem Pasha, who happens to be married to Suleiman's daughter, backs her every word. The whisper works. When Mustafa enters his father's tent in Eregli, he expects a routine briefing. Suleiman is not there. 7 mutes are. Mutes are servants whose tongues have been cut out, kept around specifically for executions where no scream can reach anyone outside. You're Mustafa. You see the mutes. You understand instantly. You try to fight. You're a strong man, trained in combat your entire life, and you almost get to the tent flap before they pull you down. The bowstring goes around your neck. The last thing you think about is your father, sitting in another tent 50 yards away, listening for it to be over. Outside, the army hears the news and almost mutinies. Janissaries openly weep. They demand the head of Rustem Pasha. Suleiman gives them Rustem's office to calm them down, then quietly reinstates him 2 years later. Mustafa's body is laid out on a rug in front of the imperial tent. Suleiman, the great lawgiver, the magnificent, does not come to see it. The empire never quite forgets. Selim II, the son Hurrem wanted on the throne, takes power 11 years later. He's known to history as Selim the Sot, a drunk who can barely stay upright on a horse. Ottoman decline doesn't start with him exactly, but it starts close enough to him that historians draw a straight line. Suleiman trades the son who could have been a great sultan for the son his wife wants. Then he rules for another 13 years and dies on campaign in Hungary, an old man in a tent. If killing one heir is a calculation, the next king makes a career of it. 4. Aurangzeb. It's 1657 in Agra, India, and Shah Jahan, the Mughal emperor who built the Taj Mahal for his dead wife, is suddenly very sick. He recovers. But the rumor that he's dying has already traveled to his 4 adult sons, and the rumor is enough. The Mughal Empire has no rule of primogeniture. The throne goes to whichever son wins. Win means kill. Shah Jahan has 4 sons, 3 of them are about to die. The favorite is Dara Shikoh, the oldest. He's a mystic, a translator of the Upanishads, a man who believes Hinduism and Islam are 2 languages saying the same thing. Shah Jahan loves him. The court loves him. The problem is that his 3 younger brothers love power more. The youngest is Murad Bakhsh, a drinker, a fighter, easy to manipulate. The second youngest is Shah Shuja, governor of Bengal, ambitious but isolated. And the third son is Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb is cold. Aurangzeb is patient. Aurangzeb has been waiting for this his entire life. He plays it perfectly. He allies with Murad, promises him half the empire, and they crush Dara's army at the Battle of Samugar in May 1658. Dara flees west toward Persia with his teenage son. Aurangzeb hunts him for 9 months across India, finally catching him in Sindh when a chieftain Dara trusted hands him over for a bag of gold. Dara is brought back to Delhi in chains, paraded through the streets on a filthy elephant so people can see the philosopher prince humiliated. Aurangzeb's clerics conveniently declare him a heretic for studying Hindu texts. He's beheaded in August 1659. Aurangzeb has his brother's head washed, placed on a platter, and delivered to their father in Agra Fort, where Shah Jahan, very much still alive, is now a prisoner. Shah Jahan opens the platter and screams. Aurangzeb is just getting started. Murad, the brother who helped him win, is invited to a friendly dinner shortly after the victory, gets drunk, falls asleep, and wakes up in chains. He's executed in 1661 on a technical charge of murder from years earlier. Shah Shuja, the Bengal brother, loses a battle, flees to Burma, and disappears forever, possibly killed by local kings, possibly drowned in a river, possibly torn apart in the jungle. His family is never seen again. Dara's surviving son, Suleiman Shikoh, is captured and slowly poisoned with daily doses of opium until he becomes a vegetable and dies. Shah Jahan, the father, the emperor, the man who built the most beautiful building on earth for his dead wife, spends the last 8 years of his life locked in a single tower of Agra Fort. From his window, he can see the Taj Mahal. He stares at it every day. He dies in 1666, and Aurangzeb has him buried next to the woman he built it for. Aurangzeb rules for 49 years. He doubles the size of the empire. He also nearly destroys it, draining the treasury on endless wars in the Deccan, alienating the Hindu subjects who had been loyal to his ancestors, and leaving behind a system so brittle that within 30 years of his death, the Mughal emperors are puppets in their own palace. He kills his way to the throne. The throne never forgives him for it. The last king on this list doesn't pick off rivals one by one. He kills them all in a single afternoon. 5. Mehmed III. It's January 28th, 1595, in the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul. Sultan Murad III is dead. His 28-year-old son, Mehmed, has just been belted with the sword of Osman and proclaimed Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. There is a tradition that needs to be observed. He has 19 younger brothers. The oldest is 11. The youngest is still nursing. The law of fratricide was written down by Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople, more than a century earlier. It says, "Whichever son of mine takes the throne is permitted to kill all his brothers, for the order of the world." It is not metaphor. It is procedure. Mehmed III issues the order on his first day. The boys are summoned one by one to his presence in the palace. Each is told his father has died and his brother is now sultan and would like to see him. The oldest, who already understands, walks in crying. Mehmed kisses him on the forehead, then nods to the deaf-mute executioners waiting behind the curtain. The silk bowstring goes around the boy's neck. Silk is used because spilling royal blood is forbidden by tradition. Strangling is considered clean. This happens 19 times. The youngest brothers, some of whom are toddlers, are carried in by their nursemaids. The nursemaids are told to leave the room. They know what comes next. There is no record of any of them refusing. After the brothers, Mehmed orders 7 women in his late father's harem who are currently pregnant to be drowned. He cannot risk one of them giving birth to another son who might one day make a claim. They are tied in sacks weighted with stones and rowed out into the Bosphorus. At night, the boatmen never speak of it. The bodies of the 19 princes are laid out in small coffins in the courtyard the next morning. The people of Istanbul come to look. There is no rebellion, there is barely even shock. Everyone understands that this is what stability costs. You are one of the few servants left in the empty wing of the palace where the princes used to live. You walk through their rooms. You can still smell their food on the plates. There are unfinished school books open on the desks, a wooden horse on the floor of one of the smaller bedrooms. The palace cats are wandering around looking for someone to feed them. You are not allowed to talk about any of this, ever. The European ambassadors in Istanbul write home in horror. The Venetian envoy calls it the most lamentable spectacle ever witnessed in the empire. The Ottoman court calls it Tuesday. Mehmed III rules for 8 years. He turns out to be a mediocre sultan, mostly hiding in the palace while his mother runs the government. He dies of a stroke in 1603, possibly poisoned, almost certainly assisted into the next world by someone in his own court. He is succeeded by his 13-year-old son, Ahmed I, who looks at his own newborn brother and decides he can't do it. Ahmed abolishes the law of fratricide. In its place, he creates the kafes, the cage, a gilded set of rooms inside Topkapi where Ottoman princes are imprisoned for life, kept alive but kept away from power. Generations of princes grow up in those rooms, never learning to read maps or command armies or speak to anyone outside the walls. When one of them is occasionally pulled out to become sultan, he is often half mad from isolation. The Ottomans stop killing their princes. They just lock them in a beautiful room and let them rot. 19 small coffins in a row in a courtyard in Istanbul. A father weeping over his son in a chamber in Moscow. A philosopher prince's head on a platter in Agra. A woman walking silently to the executioner in Jerusalem. A young man strangled in a tent in Anatolia while his father listens through the canvas. In every one of these stories, the man who gives the order is the same man who once held these people as babies, shared meals with them, watched them learn to walk and ride and read. And then, one morning, he does the math, and the math comes out the same way every time. Family is the closest thing to a king, and the closest thing to a king is the most dangerous thing in the world.